Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Dr. Joel Boyce here. And again, I want to share some information with you guys. I want to follow back up on what we talked about the other night. We started talking about pitching your product, your resource, your service to schools, especially your curriculum. I want to make sure you guys know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Yesterday, I shared some information that was a good opening lesson for you all in terms of what you needed to do to partner with schools. And tonight, I want to follow back up with some of the things that we didn't get through in day one that you need to know in day two, because there are some very important steps that you need to take to secure some of these massive contracts that schools are giving out to people who are just approaching them the right way. So I want to make sure you have the tools that you need to be able to secure a high-paying school contract. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, and I just like to go right into it, what do I need to do to make sure that my curriculum is ready to be sold to schools? And this is important because when you're designing a curriculum, if you've never worked with schools before, there are certain things that we require that you just may not know about. Nobody may have ever told you before. Nobody may have given you the blueprint to do it. But I want to make sure that you guys understand exactly what you need to do. And the first thing is so critical. It's be flexible, be flexible, be flexible. All right. Now, why do I say be flexible? It is you better get ready for all kinds of changes that are going to come your way. You may think you're ready to design a program. You have it set in your mind. You think you know what you want to do. And all of a sudden, schools come back to you and say, hey, look, this is not going to pass muster with the Title I department, with the federal programs department. They may tell you, hey, you know what? This is not going to pass muster with what we need from our regional superintendent. Here's our FTE money for it. Whatever they decide, whatever they tell you need to do, you need to make sure that you are meeting those requirements. And again, you're trying to get their money. So you got to play the game. So be flexible, be flexible, be flexible. Number two, do your homework on the school's needs. I talked about this the other day. We talked about the school improvement plan being the blueprint. We give away what our priorities are. We tell you what our data is going to tell you about where our schools are, where our students are. We tell you what our priorities are in terms of our spending, our staffing. It's up to you to read that. It's up to you. So if you don't read that information, then you can't be mad at the school for not selecting you, because somebody else is going to do the homework that you're not going to be willing to do, and they're going to get that contract. So I want you to make sure you do your homework. If there's a state report card, read it. It's written in parent-friendly terms. It's written in layman's terms. They'll tell you, do we have reading or math deficits? Do we have a graduation problem? Do we have an attendance issue? And then you know if what you're pitching will match what they need. There's nothing like walking into a meeting with an administrator like me, a person who's going to be a decision maker, and you can tell me everything about my school. You can tell me exactly why what you're designing is what I need. But that's something you got to do on your own. So that's steps 1 and 2 to make sure that whatever you pitch to us is going to match our curricular needs, or whatever trends are out there: social emotional learning, personal finance, entrepreneurship, college and career readiness. These are not brand new concepts, but it's up to you to learn what you need to learn if you want to get a school contract. Number 2, outline what you want students to learn each week. You don't want the person who's creating your curriculum for it. If you come to a person like me, you say, hey, look, here's my idea. I want you to create this curriculum for me because I have this idea I want to get into schools. And then I ask you, okay, hey, what are some of the non-negotiables that you want to have in your curriculum? And you got nothing to give me. You need to figure out what you want them to learn. Your industry experience qualifies you. What is it about you that makes you an expert in your field? What are you doing for your job that's something that you know, a transferable skill, a transferable principle that you want young people to be able to do if they come out of high school and want to go into the workforce? What do they need to know? If you're in a business, what kind of soft skills do young people need to have to be successful at your job? What kind of beyond teamwork? What are some things they got to be able to do just to thrive? We don't want them to just be able to get a job. We're not trying to create young people who all they can do is get a job to make $10 an hour. What else can they do to have a career in your field if they decide never to go to college after they leave high school? You got to teach them that. Also, what's the length of your program? If you are asking me to create something for you, one of the first things I'm going to ask you is, how long do you want this program to be? You want it to be 18 weeks, 9 weeks? You want it to be an after-school program? You want it to be a extended learning time program that's done during the school day? You want it to be during homeroom? You got to figure out what you want the length of your program to be. And the person that's creating it for you can't tell you that. You got to understand your vision, because it's going to affect your pricing to get it designed. It's going to affect your pricing to get people to buy it. All of that's going to be plugged in together. And I want you to make sure that you have a good idea what you want that to be. Also, I want you to think about, we're not going to buy from you if the first time we meet you, you're asking for money. It's like your kids who don't even say, good morning, mom, good morning, dad. They got their hand out. Can I have this? Can I have that? It's kind of a turnoff, even as a parent with our own children. It's no different than when you're working with schools. Have we seen you before? Have you come and volunteered in the building? Have you done donuts for dads? Have you come on the first day of school? Have you helped pass out book bags? Have you helped with our turkey Thanksgiving drive? When is the first time we met you? And I want to make sure that you take the opportunity to make sure that they know who you are before you start asking them for money. Again, you're trying to get their money, but this is based on relationships. We will buy from you if we know you and if we trust you. So let's make sure that that relationship is very solid. Also, you got to figure out how much you're going to charge. This is probably the hardest thing for entrepreneurs when I work with them, when I start asking them about their profit margin. If you're creating a book, how much do you want to sell it for? We are not going to buy a $30 workbook from you. It's not going to happen. All right. We have rules that we have to follow, and it has to be commensurate with what other vendors are charging. So you got to find a sweet spot for what you're going to charge for your curriculum. That means you got to know about how long do you want it to be. Then you can research printing costs. Whether you're going to do drop shipping, you want to have a company, you're going to upload your PDF, and they're going to print it on demand when you get a contract from a school. That's something you have to figure out. But again, your pricing is important. You want to be competitive. You don't want to be too high, but you want to be too low, because if you're too low, it looks like you're desperate. So that's important to know in your pricing, but it needs to make sure that you can generate not just revenue, you want to generate profit. Revenue is good, but you got to take away all your expenses. So at the end of the day, you are trying to have a profitable business. And it's important that you know how to price your information, how to price your curriculum so you can generate profit. Also, how should your curriculum look and when you design it? Well, it's important that it's packed with informational text. That's the buzzword. When you are trying to get a school contract, we want to see informational text. They got to write. They have to be able to use vocabulary. If they're doing some math, we want to see those applications. We want to see real world applications of whatever they're doing. We want them to be connected with things that are going to look like what happens when they walk out of high school. So you want to really take your time to make sure it's engaging for young people, that it's real world based, but it also it's infused with mathematics, economics, literacy. If it's in college and career readiness, how can they look at what does this look like at a 2-year college? What does it look like at a 4-year college? What does it look like at a PWI, predominantly white institution? If you're like me, I always want to infuse some HBCUs in there, because our young people should think about all the different options that are available to them. Also, you want to sell a curriculum to schools that includes a teacher's guide. It needs to have something that teachers can walk away with. They have this in their hand, and they can actually implement what it is that you've designed. It can be a digital PDF of the teacher's guide that has things that we must have in the educational arena, such as essential questions, such as those keywords, those standards, some things that are newer, like learning targets, success criteria. When you partner with somebody like me, we already know what schools are looking for. And because that may not be what your specialty is, we're going to help you to be able to figure out what language has to be there so that you can pass muster if you're trying to get a school contract. Again, that's something that a person like me who does done-for-you curriculum writing, we already know. All right, we know this is not your specialty, especially if you're in industry, but we can help you cut through the red tape and make sure that what you're designing is going to meet what schools are looking for. So you want to be cognizant of that when you are selecting somebody to partner with you to develop your curriculum. So there are 3 different ways I can help you do this. First and foremost, many of you have already grabbed a copy of my new book. It's called Cracking the Code, the Blueprint for Entrepreneurs to Secure High-Paying Contracts with Schools. Again, here's a copy of my new book. Again, it's right there on the screen for those who want to see it. You can go on my website at www.jcbedpro.com. You can also email me. My email is Joel, Joel, Boyce, Boyce, @jcbedpro. Or you can actually work with me where I actually will design your curriculum for you. My team and I will get your vision. We will figure out what it is that you're trying to do. And we will help you to create a curriculum that represents what you bring from industry and what you want young people to learn so that you can get your curriculum in schools and secure those high-paying contracts that you're looking to get. Again, you want to partner with an industry expert. You want to help get with somebody who can help you cut through that red tape that you just wouldn't know about because you don't work in schools. But we understand that as an assistant principal, that's what I do on a regular basis. So I'm teaching you how to pitch what you want to do to a person like me so that you can make sure you cut through the red tape and you're successful in your bid to partner with schools. Let's work together. Come visit me at www.jcbedpro.com and let's partner together.